Rain fell like needles on the dead forest. Park Tai-ho walked through the mud with his rifle close to his chest. His boots made wet sounds with every step. Behind him, 3 soldiers followed in silence. They were tired. They were always tired now. The war had been going on for 4 years. For years of blood and fire and watching friends die. Tai-ho had stopped counting the bodies long ago. He was only 28 years old, but he felt like an old man. His face was hard. His eyes had seen too much. Kepler 442b was a green world once. Now it was gray and brown. The Veth Dominion had burned everything. They were winning the war, and everyone knew it. Humanity was running out of time. Tai-ho raised his fist. His squad stopped. He had heard something, a sound that did not belong to the forest. It was weak, like metal crying. He moved forward alone. His heart beat faster. Through the black trees, he saw smoke rising from the ground. Something had crashed there. Something big. He found the escape pod in a hole it had made when it fell from the sky. The metal was twisted and broken. Fire marks covered its surface. It was not a human pod. It was not Dominion either. The design was different, softer. Rounder Tai-ho looked inside through a crack in the hole. His breath stopped. There was a creature inside. It looked almost human, but not quite. The skin was pale blue, like morning sky. The hair was white and long, covering a face that seemed peaceful even in pain. The creature was female. She was bleeding from a wound on her side. Her chest moved slowly. She was still alive. His squad arrived behind him. Private Kwan looked at the alien and spat on the ground. "Leave it," he said. "We don't have food for ourselves. We can't carry extra weight," Corporal Shin agreed. "Could be a trap. The Dominion uses tricks like this." Tai-ho looked at the alien again. Her eyes opened slowly. They were gold, like coins catching sunlight. She looked at him with fear and hope mixed together. She did not speak. Maybe she could not. But her eyes said everything. "Please, help me, Tai-ho." Thought about his sister back on Earth? She had died in the first Dominion attack. She was only 16. He remembered her face when she was scared. This alien had the same look. "We take her," Tai-ho said. "Sergeant, that's crazy," I said. "We take her." His voice was iron. No one argued with that voice. He pulled the alien from the pod. She was light, lighter than he expected. He carried her on his back. Her blood soaked into his uniform. It was warm. Whatever she was alive. That was enough. They walked for 6 hours through the dead forest. The alien woke up twice. Each time she looked at Tai-ho with those golden eyes. Each time she tried to speak. The sounds were strange, but slowly he began to understand one word she kept repeating. Lyra, that was her name. They reached the base at midnight. It was a small camp hidden in the mountains. 50 soldiers lived there, fighting a war they could not win. When Tai-ho arrived carrying an alien on his back, everyone stopped and stared. Captain Yoon Hannah came out of her tent. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and a sharper mind. She had led this unit for 2 years. She had kept them alive when others had died. "What is this?" she asked. Survivor Tai-ho said. "Her pod crashed in Sector 7. She needs medical help. She's not human. She's not Dominion either." Captain Yoon looked at Lyra for a long moment. Then she looked at Tai-ho. She saw something in his eyes. Determination, maybe something more. Put her in the medical tent. Keep guards on her at all times. Tai-ho carried Lyra inside. The camp doctor, a tired man named Baek Jun-soo, examined her wound. He shook his head. "I don't know alien medicine. I could kill her trying to help." Ash! Lyra's eyes opened. She looked at her wound. Then, slowly, she placed her hand over it. A soft light came from her palm. Blue and gentle, the wound began to close. Everyone in the tent stepped back. Fear filled their faces, but Tai-ho stepped forward. He watched the light. He watched Lyra's face twist with effort. She was healing herself, but it was hard. It was taking everything she had. When she finished, she fell back, breathing fast. The wound was gone. Only smooth blue skin remained. "What are you?" Dr. Baek whispered. Lyra looked at Taiho. She spoke slowly, carefully. Her voice was soft like wind through leaves. Orani, I am Orani. Healers. The Dominion. They take us. They make us... slaves. Heal their soldiers. I... escaped. Taiho understood now. The Orani were neutral in the war. They had no weapons, no armies. They only had the gift of healing. And the Dominion had enslaved them for it. You're safe now, Taiho said. Lyra's golden eyes filled with tears. No one has said that to me. In long time, that night, a young private was brought into the medical tent. His name was Ominsu. He had been shot during a patrol. The bullet had hit his stomach. Dr. Beek said he would die before morning. Lyra stood up. Her legs shook. She was still weak, but she walked to Minsu's bed. She placed her hands on his wound. The blue light came again. Brighter this time. Everyone watched in silence. Minutes passed. Sweat covered Lyra's face. Her whole body trembled. When she finished, she collapsed on the floor. But Minsu's wound was gone. His breathing was normal. He would live. Taiho helped Lyra back to her bed. She could barely keep her eyes open. Why did you do that? He asked. You could have died? Lyra smiled weakly. He was young. He had more life to live. I could not watch him die. Not when I could help. Taiho looked at her for a long moment. In that moment, something changed inside him. This alien was not a stranger. She was not a burden. She was something rare in this war. She was good. Outside the tent, the other soldiers had gathered. They had seen what Lyra did. Private Quan, the same man who wanted to leave her behind, stood at the front. Maybe, he said slowly, maybe she's not so bad. That was the beginning. The beginning of trust. The beginning of hope. The beginning of something that would change the war forever. Taiho did not know it yet. But the decision he made in that dead forest, the decision to save one life, would save millions. 3 weeks passed since Lyra arrived at the camp. The soldiers no longer looked at her with fear. They looked at her with something close to respect. She had saved 7 lives already. 7 soldiers who should have died. 7 families who would see their sons and daughters again, but respect was not the same as trust. Some soldiers still whispered behind her back. They called her the Blue Ghost when they thought no one was listening. Lyra heard them. She pretended she did not. Taiho spent time with her every day. At first it was duty. Someone had to watch her. But slowly, it became something more. He found himself looking forward to their talks. She was curious about everything. Human food. Human music. Human feelings. Why do you fight? She asked one evening. They sat outside the medical tent, watching the stars. Goes, they attacked us, Taiho said. The Dominion came to our world. They killed millions. We had no choice. There is always a choice. Now when someone is trying to destroy everything you love. Lyra was quiet for a moment. The Irani do not fight. We believe all life is sacred. We heal. We do not harm. And look what happened. The Dominion enslaved your people. Yes. Her voice was sad. Sometimes I wonder if we were wrong. If kindness is weakness, and Taiho shook his head. Kindness is not weakness. It takes more strength to be kind than to be cruel. Anyone can destroy. It takes real courage to save. Lyra looked at him. Her golden eyes were warm. You are not like other soldiers I have seen. What do you mean? Most soldiers have darkness in their hearts. They enjoy killing. But you carry sadness. You fight because you must, not because you want to. Taiho did not answer. She was right. He hated every kill. Every death haunted him at night. But he could not stop. Not until the war was over. Days turned into weeks. Lyra began to share what she knew about the Dominion. She had been their prisoner for 2 years. She had seen things, heard things. Important things she told them about Dominion ship designs. Their weak points, where their armor was thin. She drew maps of their patrol routes from memory. She explained their command structure. their leaders. Their fears. Captain Yoon listened carefully to every word. She took notes. She made plans. With Lyra's information, their small unit began winning battles they should have lost. The first victory was a supply raid. Lyra told them exactly when the Dominion convoy would pass through a valley. Taiho led the ambush. They destroyed 3 enemy vehicles and captured enough weapons to arm the whole camp. No human casualties. The second victory was bigger. Lyra identified a communication tower that controlled enemy movements in the region. The unit attacked at night. Corporal Baek Jian flew them in on a stolen transport. Sergeant Kim Doan planted the explosives. The tower fell. For the first time in months, humans pushed the enemy back. But war never stays quiet for long. The Dominion ambush came on a Tuesday. Taiho's platoon was moving through a canyon when the walls exploded. Plasma fire rained down from above. Men and women screamed. Bodies fell. Taiho was thrown to the ground by a blast. His ears rang. His eyes could not focus. Through the smoke, he saw shapes moving. Dominion soldiers, tall and dark, with forearms and faces like insects. They were coming to finish the job. He tried to stand. His leg would not move. Something was wrong. Broken, maybe. He could not tell. Pain was everywhere. A Dominion soldier stood over him. Its weapon pointed at his face. Time slowed down. Taiho thought about his parents, his sister, the life he would never have. Then blue light filled the air. Lyra came from nowhere. She threw herself between Taiho and the enemy. The plasma blast hit her shoulder. She screamed but did not fall. Instead, she grabbed Taiho and dragged him behind a rock. The Dominion soldier advanced. Lyra stood in front of Taiho. She had no weapon. She had only her body. "Move," the soldier said in broken human language. "We want the human. Not you, no. You will die. Then I die." The soldier raised its weapon, but before it could fire, more human soldiers arrived. Private Quan and Corporal Shin. They shot the Dominion soldier from behind. It fell. The rest of the ambush scattered. The humans were winning. But the cost was terrible. Half the platoon was dead. Taiho looked at Lyra. Her shoulder was burned badly. Blue blood covered her arm. But she was smiling. "Stupid," Taiho said. His voice was rough. "You could have been killed. So could you. Right. Why did you do that?" Lyra's golden eyes met his. "You were the first human who saw me as a person, not a tool. Not a thing to be used. You saw me? How could I let you die?" Taiho had no answer. He had saved her life in the forest. Now she had saved his. They were equal, more than equal. They were bonded. Dr. Baek treated Lyra's wound. It was bad, but she would heal. She always healed. That was her gift and her curse. Captain Yoon came to see them that night. She looked at Taiho's broken leg. She looked at Lyra's burned shoulder. She looked at the reports of the battle. 16 dead, she said. 12 wounded. We lost half our fighting strength. "I'm sorry," Taiho said. "Don't be. You would all be dead if not for her." She pointed at Lyra. "Her information saved more lives than it cost. And her courage saved you." Captain Yoon was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that surprised everyone. "I'm forming a special operations unit. Small team. Dangerous missions. High reward." She looked at Taiho and Lyra. "I want both of you." "Both?" Lyra asked. "You work well together?" "Better than any team I've seen. Whatever bond you have, it's real. It's powerful. And I need it." Taiho and Lyra looked at each other. No words were needed. They both nodded. "Good, Captain," Yoon said. "Rest up. Heal. When you're ready, we have a war to win." She left. Taiho and Lyra sat in silence. Outside, the stars burned bright against the dark sky. Somewhere up there, the Dominion was planning its next attack. Somewhere up there, millions were dying. But here, in this small tent, something new had been born. An alliance. A partnership. A friendship that crossed the stars. Tai-Ho did not know what the future held. But he knew one thing for certain. Whatever came next, he would not face it alone. And neither would Lyra. The war room was cold and dark. Maps covered every wall. Red marks showed Dominion territory. Blue marks showed human space. The red was spreading like blood on cloth. The blue was shrinking. Captain Yoon Hana stood at the center of the room. Her face was stone. Around her sat the best soldiers she had. Tai-Ho Lyra, Sergeant Kim Do-in, a man with steady hands and a love for explosives. Corporal Baek Ji-yeon, a pilot who could fly anything with wings or engines. I called you here because the war is about to end, Captain Yoon said. We're winning? Do-in asked. No, we're losing, badly, and it's about to get worse. She pressed a button. A hologram appeared in the air. It showed a massive structure, metal and fire. Larger than any ship, larger than any station. It looked like a spear pointed at the heart of the universe. Intelligence calls it the Void Spear, Captain Yoon said. The Dominion has been building it for 5 years. It's almost complete. In 3 weeks, it will be ready to fire. What does it do? Tai-Ho asked. It destroys stars. The room went silent. Everyone understood. One weapon. One shot. An entire solar system gone. Earth. Mars. The colonies. Everything humanity had built. Everything they loved. Turned to dust. Our fleet cannot reach it in time, Captain Yoon continued. The Dominion homeworld is too far. Too well defended? By the time our ships arrive, the weapon will already fire. Then what do we do? Gi-yeon asked. We send a small team. Fast. Quiet. You get inside. You destroy it from within. Do-han laughed. But it was not a happy laugh. That's suicide. You know that, right? Yes. No extraction. No backup? No. This is a one-way trip. I will not lie to you. The chances of survival are almost zero. But the chance of saving humanity is real. That's all I can offer. Silence filled the room again. Tai-Ho looked at the hologram. The Void Spear. Such a simple name for such terrible power. He thought about Earth. The mountains. The oceans. The cities full of people who would never know how close they came to dying. I'll go, he said. Everyone looked at him. Captain Yoon nodded. She had expected this. I'll go too, Lyra said. You don't have to, Tai-Ho told her. This isn't your war. It became my war when the Dominion took my people. When they put chains on my friends. When they killed my family. Her golden eyes burned with something new. Anger. I have spent my whole life healing. Now, I want to stop the wound at its source. Well, I was getting bored anyway. Count me in. Ji-yeon smiled. It was a wild smile. The smile of someone who loved danger. I've always wanted to fly into a star. This is close enough. Captain Yoon looked at them. For soldiers. To humans. One Orani. One pilot who was probably crazy. It was not an army. It was barely a team. But it was all she had. Good. We leave in 2 days. Get your affairs in order. Say your goodbyes. Write your letters. And thank you. All of you. What you're doing, it matters. It matters more than anything. The meeting ended. Everyone left except Tai-Ho and Lyra. They stood in the empty room staring at the hologram of the weapon that would destroy everything. Are you afraid? Lyra asked. Yes, Tai-Ho admitted. Are you? Yes, but I am more afraid of doing nothing. Of watching the universe burn while I hide in safety? That's not you. You could never hide. Lyra smiled sadly. Neither could you. That's why we found each other. The next 2 days passed quickly. Tai-Ho wrote a letter to his parents. He told them he loved them. He told them he was sorry for all the time he missed. He told them not to be sad. He was doing what he was born to do. Do-in spent his time checking explosives. He had enough to destroy a small moon. He hoped it would be enough for the Void Spear. Gin worked on their ship. It was a captured Dominion transport, fast and silent, perfect for sneaking through enemy space. She named it Last Chance and painted a small flower on the hull. Lyra did something unexpected. She contacted other Irani through secret channels, through whispers in the dark. She told them what was coming. She asked for their help. What did they say? Taiho asked. They are afraid. But they are also tired of being slaves. When the time comes, they will help us. They will create a distraction. That's risky. If the Dominion finds out, they will kill them. I know, but they chose this. They want to be free. Even if freedom means death, Taiho understood. He had felt the same way for years. Sometimes death was better than living on your knees. The day of departure arrived. The whole camp gathered to see them off. 50 soldiers standing in the cold morning air. Some saluted. Some cried. Private Quan, the man who once wanted to leave Lyra behind, stepped forward. Come back, he said. That's an order. Taiho smiled. Since when do you give orders? Since now. Don't make me come looking for you. They boarded the ship. Gian took the controls. The engines hummed to life. Slowly, the Last Chance rose into the sky, higher and higher, until the camp was just a dot, until the planet was just a ball of brown and gray, and then they jumped into the darkness. Between stars, the journey would take 6 days. 6 days of silence and waiting. 6 days to think about everything they were leaving behind. Everything they might never see again. Taiho sat in his small cabin. He looked at a photograph. His sister. Her smile, her eyes. She had died so long ago, but he still remembered her laugh. I'm coming, he whispered. One way or another, I'm coming. The ship flew on. Toward the enemy, toward the weapon, toward destiny. Behind them, the stars burned cold and distant. Ahead of them, War waited with open arms. There was no turning back now. Everything went wrong on the 3rd day. They had crossed into Dominion space without trouble. Gian flew the ship like a ghost, thiding in asteroid fields and dead zones where sensors could not reach. They were so close. So close to the homeworld, so close to the weapon, then the patrol found them. 3 Dominion fighters appeared from nowhere. Their weapons locked onto the Last Chance before anyone could react. Alarms screamed inside the ship. Red lights flashed everywhere. Gillen shouted. She threw the ship into a spin. Plasma bolts flew past the windows. One hit the left wing. Fire erupted. The ship shook like a wounded animal. Guion fought the controls. Her hands moved faster than thought. She dove toward a nearby moon, hoping to lose the fighters in its mountains. But the Dominion was faster. A missile hit the engine. The explosion threw everyone from their seats. Dohan slammed into the wall. His arm broke with a sound like dry wood snapping. He screamed but did not stop moving. He grabbed his pack of explosives and held it tight. We're going down. Gin yelled. The moon rushed toward them. Gray rock. Sharp peaks. No soft landing anywhere. Gian did something impossible. She found a narrow valley between 2 mountains. She brought the burning ship through it like a thread through a needle. The wings scraped against rock. Sparks flew. Metal screamed. They crashed. The impact threw Taiho through the air. He hit something hard. Pain exploded in his chest. Then darkness. When he woke, the ship was burning. Smoke filled the air. He could not see. He could not breathe. He crawled through the wreckage, calling names. Lyra. Duhan. Gian. He found Lyra first. She was trapped under a metal beam. Her leg was crushed. Blue blood pooled on the floor, but she was alive. Her golden eyes opened when she heard his voice. Taiho. ... The others. He lifted the beam. His muscles screamed. His broken ribs stabbed at his lungs. But he lifted it. He pulled Lyra free. Gian was unconscious in the pilot seat. Blood covered her face. Taiho checked her pulse. Weak, but steady. She would live if they could get her help. Doan was gone. Tahoe searched the wreckage. Nothing. He went outside. The moon's air was thin and cold. Each breath hurt. He looked around the crash site. Footprints in the dust. Many footprints. And drag marks. Someone had been taken, the patrol, Lyra said. She had limped outside, using a broken pipe as a crutch. They landed after we crashed. They took him. We have to get him back. No, Lyra's voice was hard. We have to complete the mission. That's what Doan would want. Tahoe knew she was right. He hated it, but she was right. The mission was more important than any one life. Even a friend's life. They carried Gian into a cave nearby. She woke slowly. Her eyes were unfocused at first, then sharp with pain. The ship, she asked, destroyed. Can you walk? I can try. It took an hour to gather what they could from the wreckage. Food, water, weapons, and most importantly, Doan's explosives. The packet survived the crash, enough firepower to destroy the Void Spear's core. If they could reach it, the Dominion homeworld hung in the sky above them. Red and black, a planet of war. The Void Spear was somewhere on its surface. So close now. So terribly close. How do we get there? Gian asked. There is a way, Lyra said. When I was a slave, I learned the secret paths. Underground tunnels used to move Irani workers without being seen. If we can reach the transport station on this moon, I can lead us through. They walked for hours. The thin air made every step a struggle. Tahoe's ribs screamed with each breath, but he did not stop. He could not stop. The transport station was small and poorly guarded. 2 Dominion soldiers stood at the entrance. Tahoe and Gian killed them quietly. No alarms, no warnings. Inside, they found a shuttle. Old but functional, Gian took the controls again. Her hands shook from exhaustion, but her eyes were clear. One more flight, she said. Just one more. They flew to the homeworld. Lyra guided them to a landing zone far from the main cities. A dead area, abandoned, perfect for hiding. From there, they walked into darkness. The slave tunnels were narrow and cold. Water dripped from the ceiling. Strange sounds echoed in the distance. Screams, maybe, or machines. Tahoe could not tell. Lyra led the way. She moved through the tunnels like she was born in them. Maybe she was. They walked for what felt like days. In truth, it was only hours. Time meant nothing underground. Finally, they heard voices ahead. Irani voices. Soft and musical. Lyra called out in her language. The voices answered. They emerged into a large cavern. Dozens of Iranis stood there. Old and young. Male and female. All of them wearing the marks of slaves. Chains around their wrists. Burns on their skin. But their eyes were not the eyes of slaves. Their eyes burned with hope. You came, an old Irani said to Lyra. We thought it was a dream. It's real. The time has come. Will you help us? The old one looked at Tahoe and Gian. Humans, the enemy of their enemy. Strange allies for strange times. We will help, he said. We are tired of chains. Tell us what to do, Lyra explained the plan. The Irani would create chaos. They would break machines, set fires, cause confusion. While the Dominion dealt with the uprising, Tahoe would reach the Void Spear's core. It's dangerous, Tahoe said. Many of you could die. The old Irani smiled. It was a sad smile. We are already dead. We have been dead for years. This is our chance to finally live, even if only for a moment. The uprising began at midnight. Alarms echoed through the fortress. Fire lit up the darkness. Irani slaves ran through the halls, breaking everything they could touch. Guards chased them. Officers shouted orders. Chaos spread like wildfire. Tahoe moved through the madness like a shadow. Lyra was beside him. Gian stayed with the Irani, helping them fight. She could barely walk, but she could still shoot. They reached the core of the Void Spear. It was a massive room. metal and light. In the center, a pillar of energy rose toward the ceiling, beautiful and terrible. This was the heart of the weapon. Destroy this, and the weapon dies. Tai-Ho opened Doan's pack. His hands were steady. His heart was calm. He had come so far. He had lost so much. Now it ended. He set the charges. Timer for 10 minutes? Enough time to escape? Maybe. Then he saw the damage. The detonator was cracked. The crash had broken it. The timer still worked, but the remote trigger was dead. Someone would have to stay. Someone would have to push the button by hand. Tai-Ho looked at Lyra. She looked at the detonator. She understood. Go, she said. No, Tai-Ho, go. Find Gian. Get out. I'm not leaving you. Lyra touched his face. Her hand was warm. Her eyes were full of something deep and beautiful. You saved me once, she said. Now let me save everyone else. Outside, the chaos continued. Time was running out. Tai-Ho had to choose. The energy pillar hummed behind them. Blue light danced on the walls. In the distance, explosions echoed through the fortress. The Irani uprising was working, but it would not last forever. Time was bleeding away. Tai-Ho looked at the broken detonator in his hands. Then he looked at Lyra. Her golden eyes were calm. She had already made peace with what she had to do. This is my choice, Tai-Ho said. I should stay. This is a human war. No. Lyra's voice was gentle, but firm. This stopped being just a human war long ago. The Dominion took my people. They made us tools. They killed my family, my mother, my sisters, everyone I loved. You asked me once why I helped, why I stayed. This is why. I was waiting for a moment when my life could mean something. Your life already means something. To you, yes. And that is enough. She smiled. It was the most beautiful and the most heartbreaking thing Tai-Ho had ever seen. Do you remember what you told me? That night on Kepler, under the stars? Tai-Ho remembered. He had told her about his sister, about loss, about carrying the weight of the dead. I told you that survival is not just about living, he said. It's about carrying the stories of those who didn't, and carry mine. Lyra pressed her hand against his chest, right over his heart. Carry my story. Tell the universe that the Irani were more than slaves. We were healers. We were dreamers. We loved, we hoped, we mattered. Lyra, go, Tai-Ho, find Gian. Save your people. Build a future worth living in. Our eyes glistened with tears, but her voice did not shake. And when you look at the stars, remember me. Alarm screamed louder. Dominion soldiers were coming. They had minutes, maybe less. Tai-Ho's heart broke. It broke so completely that he thought he might fall, but he did not fall. He stood. He looked at the woman who had changed everything. I will never forget you, he said. As long as I breathe, your name will live. Lyra nodded. Then she did something unexpected. She leaned forward and pressed her forehead against his. An Irani gesture. The deepest sign of love and trust. Go now, she whispered. Run. Tai-Ho ran. He ran through the fortress like a man on fire. His broken ribs screamed. His lungs burned. But he did not stop. He found Gian in the lower tunnels, fighting alongside a group of Irani. Bodies lay around her. She was covered in blood, most of it not her own. Where's Lyra? She asked. She's staying. We need to go now. Gian's face went pale. She understood. Without another word, she followed. They found a transport ship in a docking bay. Small and fast. Gian jumped into the pilot's seat. Her hands moved automatically. The engines roared to life. Everyone hold on, she said. The ship shot into the sky. Below them, the fortress burned. Irani slaves ran through the streets. Some were dying. Some were finally free. All of them were fighting. Tai-Ho watched through the window. He watched the void spear, the massive weapon that would have destroyed everything. He counted the seconds. 10, 9, 8. He thought of Lyra, standing alone in that room of light, her hand on the detonator, her golden eyes looking up at the energy pillar. 7, 6, 5. He thought of all the conversations they had, the stories she told, the way she laughed when she was surprised, the way she cried when she thought no one was watching. 4, 3, 2. He thought of the dead forest where they met, the rain falling like needles, her eyes opening for the first time, gold catching the gray light. Please help me. 1. The explosion was silent at first. Light expanded from the fortress like a second sun. Then the sound came, a roar so loud it shook the stars. The void spear tore itself apart. Fire and metal flew in all directions. The pillar of energy collapsed. Everything died, including Lyra. Tahoe pressed his hand against the window. His fingers spread wide, as if he could reach back through space and time, as if he could hold her one more time. But she was gone. Gawain flew the ship into the darkness. Behind them, the Dominion homeworld burned. The weapon was destroyed. The war would end now. It had to end. They were found by a human patrol 3 days later, drifting in dead space, almost out of fuel, almost out of hope. The patrol ship brought them home. When Tahoe stepped onto Earth for the first time in 5 years, he fell to his knees. The grass was green. The sky was blue. Children played in a park nearby. None of them knew how close they had come to dying. He was called a hero. They gave him medals. They put his face on screens. They told his story to the whole world. But Tahoe never felt like a hero. The war ended 3 months later. The Dominion, without their superweapon, could not continue. They agreed to peace. A treaty was signed on a space station between the stars. Tahoe was there. He stood in the Great Hall, surrounded by leaders and generals. When the time came to speak, he asked for something no one expected. The Irani must be recognized, he said. They must be freed. They must be given their own world, their own future. The Dominion leaders resisted. The Irani were valuable. They were tools. They were property. No, Tahoe said. His voice was ice. They're people. And one of them saved your lives as much as ours. Without her sacrifice, we would all be dead. The least you can do is honor that. The motion passed. The Irani were freed. 10 years later, Tahoe stood on the bridge of a new ship. It was beautiful. Silver and white. Designed for exploration, not war. The first ship built to carry both humans and Irani to new worlds. On the hull, painted in letters of gold, was a name. The Lyra. Tahoe touched the glass. Outside, stars stretched into infinity. Somewhere out there, new worlds waited. New adventures. New stories. Behind him, a young Irani walked onto the bridge. She was small, with pale blue skin and golden eyes. Her name was Mira. She was Lyra's niece, the only family who survived. Are you ready? She asked. Tahoe smiled. It was the first real smile he had given in years. Yes, he said. Let's go find something beautiful. The ship jumped into the stars. And somewhere in the space between worlds, Tahoe felt a warmth in his chest, like a hand pressing against his heart, like a voice whispering through the void, carry my story. He did. He always did. Until the day he died, Tahoe carried Lyra's story. He told it to children and soldiers, to presidents and farmers, to anyone who would listen. And when people asked him what the most important thing in the universe was, he always said the same thing. Not power, not wealth, not victory, connection, compassion. The courage to see a stranger as a friend. That was what won the war. That was what saved humanity. That was Lyra's gift, and it would never be forgotten.